Continuing with this August theme of not whiskey, we have brandy. Welcome to KillCo Whiskey Musings. My name is Brian, and guess what? Looking forward to this. It is no secret that I like Andalusia whiskey. I have the shirt, I have the Glencairn, and I have tasted this before. Granted, it was March of this year. That is when I was at the Wizard Academy getting my whiskey som level 2. And as always, when I'm in Texas, I visit Andalusia. And this was actually the first time they released this, so I was very lucky to be there when I was. Wow. It sprayed. Should be noted, I am not a brandy person. I think this is one of the very few brandies I've ever had, come to think of it. As you can see here, this is a Spirit Applejack type apple brandy barrel, new number 3 char, aged 32 months, which is about 2.5 years. 50% Andalusia is known for doing 50% in almost everything they make. Begin with the color. Look at it. It's beautiful. What I find interesting is it hasn't been aged nearly as long as a whiskey would be, and yet it gained this much color. It is somehow bronze, but yet clear. Onto the nose. Ooh, it's clean glass. Ooh, and sweet alcohol. I spun this around a little too much. It's applesauce. What surprised me is how faint it is. There's absolutely some wood impact. I just got a little bit of cinnamon spice. Yeah, and now it's making me think of, ooh, have you ever had hot cider? A very common drink up here in New England, but probably less popular down in Texas, though that might have changed over the years. Yeah, cinnamon stick, applesauce, hot cider. It's giving me all the right vibes onto the palate. It's more spicy than I anticipated. First sip, stop. The alcohol burn isn't too bad, which is good, but I have also felt that way about almost every single Andalusia I get. Next, take a sip, hold in the palate, see what else we can derive from this brandy. The moment I realized I should have had a brandy glass. I don't have a brandy glass. Oh well. Whoa. Sweet, dry, spicy. Make me think of apple pie. What a shock. What is surprising to me is how, even though I know it's made from apples, I don't get as much sweetness as I would expect. It's mostly barrel impact. As you can imagine, anything being aged in Texas in new oak is going to have a lot of barrel impact, whether it likes it or not, especially after 2.5 years. So I feel that most of the sweet notes have been tamped down quite a bit. I'm going to go in one more time, hold it on my palate longer, and see what else I can find. Usually I don't do this, but since I'm having a little bit of trouble getting more out of this, I want to get more out of this. But I know it's a brandy, and what I'm not accustomed to is how brandy lays on your palate. With whiskey specifically, it's always something that lingers. It has a little more texture to it, or at least the ones I like. Those are some great spices, man. And I am realizing, even at this proof, which I don't think most brandies are, it is something I could see myself taking a larger sip of without too much difficulty. Like this one I just took was much more than usual, and it wasn't overly complicated. Again, it's mostly spices, which is like this thread of apple sweetness going through the middle. And what I mean by that is if you've had an apple that you bite into, it's that type of sweet that's been just suppressed by all these spices. I can almost imagine tasting some of the apple peel, and that might be because of the dry note. The one thing that does linger is that it dries out your tongue, which is sometimes good for whiskeys and brandies, although I know little to nothing about brandies other than it is not whiskey. I am enjoying this, and it does feel like, because I'm just drinking it neat, and because it's giving me that idea and that thought about hot cider, that this could be something that would be warmed up nicely. I know some brandies are, and it doesn't take me much to think, guess what? When it's colder this year, I'm going to make hot apple cider and pour a fair amount of this into it. Oh my gosh, that's going to be so good. More sip, just one. Mm. There's something early on that I'm grasping at that just it screams to me that it's not whiskey, but it's almost as if the ethanol hits differently and it gives a whole different feel. And I find it very bizarre. What I would have to do in the future is just try more brandy. I don't know how brandy has an initial hit. It does not hit like an initial sip of whiskey. There's something different about it, but I'm finding it incredibly hard to explain other than saying the ethanol hits differently. And it's only on that initial sip. Try one more time. I'm really annoyed at this. Yeah, it's a whole different thing. Oh, that's wild. It's as if there's a different layer protecting the sweetness and the spice initially, and it's a different flavor, but I can't quite clarify what it is, other than me saying, I believe this was a brandy spirit would do naturally. Like, this is what people who drink brandy are accustomed to, where I'm accustomed to drinking whiskey. So I am used to a certain initial hit, and this one's giving me something completely different, which I think is just wild. There you have it, folks. As always, live long and prosper. Don't forget to be awesome. And I will see you out there. Thank you for joining me on KillCo Whiskey Musings. You can find my social media and Patreon in the links below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.